Good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever in the world you are watching. You're joining the Speed Force Racing podcast of Real Talk. I'm Najid, I'll be your host for this evening, and I'm joined by some awesome people of the SFR League. We have got Forever 24G, which is, of course, Tim. Tim, can you hear us? Good man, that's Tim. And we've also got Hyper SFC. He's one of our newest members of the league. He's joining as a driver and as a new commentator. Welcome to the league, Hyper.
What's up?
What's up? And then, of course, we've got our beloved SFR Oliver, of course, the driver and commentator in SFR. How you doing, Ollie?
Yeah.
Yep. Good to hear from you, Ollie, yeah. And then we've also got, of course, your lovely voice of Shadowlancer 29, which is, of course, Tom, GP4 driver and commentator. How you doing, Tom?
I'm very good, mate. I never knew I was compared to be driving in GP4 this early on, but okay, I'll take it.
Well, yeah, ex-GP4. And then, of course, we have got our GP4 compatriot of GP4, Smoke FX44. Smoke, how the devil are you? Good to have you with us. So, this evening, we have come together to discuss the very brand new trial of sprint qualifying. Now, it's split in the F1 world, it really is. Some people all automatically hate it before it's happened. Some people think they're going to love it. This is what we're going to actually find out today, between ourselves anyway. But let's just give our viewers a quick rundown of what sprint qualifying is and actually why it's been brought in. We're going to do this very, very quickly. It's much longer than what I'm about to say, but I'm going to give you the gist of it. So, we do get free practice 1, that's fine. It's only an hour long. Now, after free practice 1, the cars will be entered into the normal qualifying. It's an hour long. It's not an hour's running, but it's 3 sessions like the normal qualifying. You get key 1, key 2, and key 3. The only difference is it's a mandatory one set of type of tyre. So for Silverstone, it's the soft tyre. The cars obviously then still enter into Parc Fermé like they do from FP1, and then the next day they will do for Silverstone, it's a 17 lap, but it's a 100-kilometre race around the circuit. That then determines the starting position for the actual race on the Sunday. But they do get another free practice session after the actual qualifying session. So there's a lot of rules and regulations around this. Some things have changed. I think the main thing is, which is going to split opinion, you can do some tweaks between qualifying and the sprint race. So springs, dampers, toe and camber can be tweaked. Brake material, as long as it's the same as before, can be replaced. So this is going to be controversial, but I mean that is the very, very, very quick gist of the outline of it. So I'm just going to go through now to all our commentators and racers that are in this lobby, and we're going to ask, before we discuss, what their opinion of it is. So Tim, loud and clear if you can, mate, before we discuss, are you for the sprint qualifying or against it? Cool. Okay. Fantastic. Good stuff. So just in case Tim wasn't heard on the stream, he is for it, but he wants to wait to see what the drivers and the fans think. So that's on Tim. Hyper, before we discuss, do you think you're for it or against it? Or maybe you haven't decided yet. What do you think, mate?
9.
Neither.
Should not happen.
It shouldn't happen?
No. Burn
Okay,
it.
okay. So you're against it then?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Hyper. Shadowlancer, Tom,
Yo.
give us your pre-discussion opinion on the matter.
I'm going to be honest. I am somewhat against it, but I'm not completely close-minded, so I'm willing to give it give it a chance to see if it works.
Yeah, I like that.
But
I like that. Okay, cool.
If it doesn't work, if drivers are against it, if other people are against it, don't bother.
Cool. Okay, now coming on to smoke effect. Before we discuss, do you think you're for it or against it, or somewhere in between?
I'm a little bit on the fence about it because I'm very, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But after the qualifying today, after the one practice session, it seemed like it has a bit of promise. So we'll wait and see until Sunday.
Good stuff. And then Ollie, if you can hear us, mate, what's your take on it, mate? Are you for it or against it before we discuss? Yeah, we still can't get up. Oh, there we go. We've got you, mate. Go on. For it or against it, Ollie? Yeah, Ollie, I think you're losing signal, buddy. We'll come back to you later on, pal. Or if you can... Yeah, you can't message. That's fine. Go on. We can hear you. For it. Ollie, I just caught that. You're for it. That's cool. We'll move on, buddy, because you're losing signal, mate. You're losing signal. So, near worries, buddy. So we've got a bit of a mixed bag there. We've got some people for it, some against it, and some on the fence. Coming to my opinion, I somewhat agree with Smoke. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But I think it could be exciting. I really do. But we are going to delve into some things a little bit deeper now. I'm sure Hyper is itching to get into this because he's got 2 pages of notes. But I'll start off with the first point, or first talking point, if you don't mind, guys, and that is the tweaks and the setups allowed between qualifying and the sprint race. Now, I feel that's going away from the ethos of qualifying. Parc Fermé after FP2. Is it? We've only got 2 anyway, but yeah. So Parc Fermé from qualifying and into the race, but the tweaks are now allowed. So I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. I think it should be the old settings where you do the qualifying, you're locked in, and you carry it through. So let's start with Hyper on that one. Hyper, what do you think of that, mate?
Honestly, with Parc Fermé, I just look at my notes, but I personally think that it's a bit of a joke, to be honest, because like sprint quali, you're just going to decide the simple points of, people just get into their positions and be there based on their pace. Apart from the 2 people who DNF, so Mazepin and probably Latifi, let's just say. Apart from them 2 being at the back because they've DNF'd, everyone will be in their right position, meaning unless with no setup changes, like you say, it would without setup changes, it would be really stupid because everyone will just stay in the same position. There'll be 0 overtakes Sunday, and it will just ruin the experience of F1 once again.
Yeah, so you're almost saying it's kind of a pointless exercise having 2 qualifying sessions in a way.
Well, yeah, it's like the thing about not giving pole position to, for example, Lewis today.
Yeah.
Quali.
No, if people are smart enough, they won't be on social media or watching streams that talk about F1. So, but yeah, okay, fair one, Hyper. Let's go to Tom Shadow. What do you think about the Parc Fermé rules and being able to do a few tweaks between the qualifying and the sprint race?
If I'm honest, I think similar to what I said in it's going to be a copy and paste of what I said in about the quali rules. It's like I'm not particularly keen on it, but I do agree with. I think there have some. I know there have been some. I remember mentioning that some drivers in real life have been against the sprint race and whatnot, but yeah, too early to comment. I mean, I'm not keen on it. I will give it a chance, but if it works, great. If not,
okay, mate, no worries. Right, coming to you, Smoke. Just regarding the Parc Fermé rules and the tweaks they're allowed to do, how do you think this is going to affect it? And obviously, what's your opinion on it, mate?
Well, with the Parc Fermé rules, as far as I've understood it, it's literally small tweaks, i.e. aero devices like front wing, maybe little tweaks.
You can change. Yeah, you can always change front wing anyway, but you can change a damaged wing as long as you can even go to an older specification if you don't have the current specification. That's the rules. So if you're running the registered aero spec and you damage that wing and there's no replacement, you can then go to an older or newer specification without receiving a penalty. But disregarding that, with the tweaks of the camber and toe, damper and springs, what's the specific opinion on being able to change that between qualifying and sprint race?
Well, I didn't see that part in there, so that's news to me.
Okay.
However, I didn't realise, to be honest. So, I suppose it doesn't lock the grid into a very boring race, because otherwise it's just going to be whoever's able to adjust to the situation, or like depending on the weather. So, say if it's cooler temperatures like it was this evening, the Mercedes perform better, or if it's higher temperatures, all that sort of thing. It all depending on that. So, again, it'll probably be more the same of Mercedes, Red Bull running away with it. So, again, I'm still on the fence. We'll find out soon.
Okay, so I mean, just touching on what you said about temperatures, there is actually a specific thing on the F1.com website, and it says allowances be made for power units and gearbox cooling adjustments should the ambient temperature change significantly, and in brackets is a change of 10°C or more recorded by the FIA's appointed weather service provider, while weight distribution may be altered. So the FIA have gone through and thought about a lot of this. But I personally don't agree with being able to change anything at all. I think if you're going into Parc Fermé, it should be your car's locked, that's the setup you're making, you can only change front wing, and that's it. They have made allowances. I mean, the one thing I've not mentioned to our viewers is the tyre allocation during a sprint qualification weekend. Is they do get 12 sets. It has changed, so you're going to get one type of tyre for qualifying, and then you only get one type of tyre for free practice. You get 2 sets of tyres for free practice 2. Now, they've reduced the tyre allocation by 1 set because of the reduced amount of running. And there is specification regarding wet running if it's in a wet qualifying or a wet sprint race, which means you then can, after each session, replace that tyre or a used tyre for a new set. So you're kind of not losing a set if it's wet, but you have to replace it with the set you've used. So it's not like you get an extra set of softs, etc. So yeah, moving on from Parc Fermé, I want to discuss, if you don't mind, is the actual broadcasting benefits of this, or negatives. Do you know what I mean? We do get a bit more racing, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get the same qualifying session, but it's only one tyre. Then you get a sprint race and then a full race. So based on that, let's go to Hyper. Hyper, what's your thoughts on the broadcasting benefits of it and what the fans are going to see? Do you think it's going to be positive or negative? Or do you like it?
It is the F1 version of the Super League. Nobody asked for it. Nobody asked for it, but they've still done it anyway.
I actually feel I'm not a football fan, but I understand that reference. I find it hilarious. So yeah, I like that one.
It's literally just a money grab. They want people to watch Friday for qualifying. They want people to watch Saturday for qualifying, and then they want to watch people to watch Sunday for F1. I mean,
okay,
that's what Sunday is.
I will actually interject on this. I don't like interrupting, but you're saying it's a money grab. But for the likes of me, who I pay for a Now TV subscription, if they, let's just say they made this a permanent feature, and qualifying's going to be on a Friday at 5 o'clock for most circuits, I'm not going to do that.
That's the British audience. They don't just care about the British audience. They care about the worldwide audience. But the point is, they know that barely anyone, unless you're a die-hard F1 fan, watches F1 on Fridays. They know that. Hence why they put qualifying Fridays. Otherwise, they would have had quali in the morning, the sprint race in the afternoon on Saturdays.
I'm a die-hard F1 fan. I don't watch any of the free practices because I think they're boring and they're pointless.
Exactly.
You don't get information. If you got the team information when you watch free practice, like what program they're running, how much fuel they've got, then yeah, I'd watch free practice. But you don't know that information, so as a viewer, it's pointless. They could be running full fuel, light fuel. You know, they could be running high downforce, low downforce. You don't know that, so what's the point? Well, how many times have we seen it where a team's been on top, but come race, they're mid-pack? So for me, it's pointless. I don't watch free practice for that reason. It's boring.
I personally, my improvement would have been, instead of a sprint quali like F2 does, instead have less free practice sessions.
Now this, yeah. So before we get into that, let's get some from Smoke about what we said about broadcasting. So Smoke, what's your opinion on the broadcasting, positives or negatives?
Well, looking at the positives, there is more racing.
Yeah.
That's the all and all of that one. The downside is like you said, for the British public, when it comes to ourselves, where we go for Now TV, it's completely eradicated the day pass because people can't afford to either pay it out monthly or for the week one. Yeah. Exactly, it's expensive. So for people that are on a tight budget, it's completely eradicated the day pass, so they're only going to be able to watch the main Grand Prix anyway. So in that sense, it's a negative. But for other people that can watch the entire lot, have the time to watch the entire lot, it's a plus.
I mean, touching on what you said, the day pass thing, they will be able to get the qualifying and sprint race, because the sprint race will be earlier, I believe, is it not? So it's 5 o'clock for the qualifying, and the sprint race is much earlier. But yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. Totally agree with you.
But I don't think there's anything else to say on that. It's got its pros, it's got its cons.
Yeah,
it's
right,
as simple as that, really.
Let's see if we can hear from Oliver. Oliver, can you hear us? And have you got signal?
Yes, I'm here.
Ah, cool. So, yeah, broadcasting, positives and negatives. Do you think it's going to be good or bad?
In my mind, I think if it was, I don't know, if I was going to manage the sprint qualifying for broadcasting, I would have made things more exciting, in more ways having a reverse grid for the top 10 to make things really much more interesting. And for us as a viewer, I think that'd be a lot more exciting. But yeah, if it goes well, I'll watch it more. But if it's a bit drastic, a bit dull, then, like I said, for Now TV plus like you lot, I don't think it's going to be any more than just a waste of their money.
Right, good stuff. Okay, so the next point I want to encroach, and bear in mind, guys, I will let you guys bring up points after this. I think this is my last point I want to discuss. Then we'll open it up to you guys to create points. But my next point is circumstance. So, if in the sprint qualifying there's incidents, wheel banging or spins, incidents. Sometimes you can't get away from racing incidents, and that's going to affect the qualifying for the actual race, and mechanical failures, things like that. So there's things that can happen in the race that affect a result that's going to happen in the sprint qualifying. And I just think sometimes we're going to get a hard, cold case of, I didn't like that. For example, if Max Verstappen had a cooling issue and was down 80 brake horsepower, and all his fans were like, oh my God, now he's starting P14. But then he might be able to come through the field. But then does he have to have a new engine? And, are the FIA going to be really strict with racing incidents in the sprint qualifying? But bearing in mind, or in sprint race, should I say, because it's meant to be flat out, no tyre wear issues, just go hell for leather, get to the finish and qualify. So I understand the ethos, but have they thought about racing incidents and what's the implementation of penalties? So in the race where they would get a 5-second time penalty or this penalty, that penalty, etc., how's that going to come to fruition between the two sessions? Hyper, I'm dying to hear from you on this one, based on incidents, mechanical failures.
Go to someone else first.
Right, okay. Right, Smoke, this sounds like Hyper's got a lot to say on this. Okay, Smoke, what do you think on that, mate? Incidents, penalties, DNFs, etc.
I think that's kind of a plus to it, if you think about it, because it adds a little bit more sort of jeopardy to the actual race itself. So if it makes, because it's only 100 kilometres the sprint race, 17 laps for Silverstone and however many laps it is for the other one that I think they're driving
Yeah.
out on. It does add that extra layer. So like, do you take that risk on going for that risky dive bomb move? Do you risk going wheel to wheel with whoever it is that you're racing against at that time? It does add that element, but I am with you with the whole penalties, because it could then severely impact the race. So for example, Lewis has got pole today but has an engine failure tomorrow. Hopefully he doesn't, but say if he does, has an engine failure tomorrow, he's then got to do an engine swap, which will then give him potentially a penalty, or a gearbox swap or something like that, which could potentially penalise him later on. So I like the idea of it, but there's a lot to go wrong. It's like with the kind of coincides with the budget cap and the engines, how many they can have allocated, because they can only have 3 units. Is this extra racing going to put more stress on the mechanical components?
Yeah, I think it will, and I think they're going to make allocations. I mean, this is just only a test, remember, and I think if it went full time, they would make allocations for that. But yeah, you've almost touched on a bit of a point there. We're talking about it, we're sort of excited or not excited about it, and the FA are getting what they want, or Liberty Media, should I say, are getting what they want. People talking, interest or disdain. This is a good point. But I mean, let's just ask Tom what he thinks about the broadcasting. Tom, are you there, mate?
Yeah.
Oh, we asked you, Tom. Sorry, Tom. It's Ollie. Sorry, Oliver. What's your thoughts, mate? Have we got Oliver?
Yo.
Yeah. So broadcasting, positives, negatives around this.
In my view, I am here.
Yeah, just speak up, mate.
In my mind, that the positive about the broadcasting is going to be a lot more entertaining for the viewer, about having more sequential races. But then, in the negative side of things, it could possibly impact things due to penalties or engine failures, something to do mechanical issue-wise. Loads of things can go wrong, but for a viewer, as a TV viewer, if it does go right, I'm all for it.
Okay, cool. So I think Oliver's a little bit quiet. I heard what he said, so I'll just rephrase what he said. What myself, Smoke, and Smoke were saying about the broadcasting positives, negatives. Oliver kind of agreed with, it could be good for the fans. The penalties could be an issue, and the DNF could be an issue. So kind of sort of like lamented what me and Smoke was saying. So. Come on, Hyper, let's see what you've got to say, mate, on the broadcasting side of it. The fan base, is it going to be good for us, is it going to be bad for us? Let's see what you've got to say, mate.
I mean, first of all, going from the sort of incidents point of view, when they do have incidents, it's going to ruin it. For the drivers and for the teams. It's going to piss them off loads. It's going to annoy them. Christian Horner, he's going to be out the door. He will be annoyed. As SAI Max.
He's always annoyed. He's always annoyed.
It's just gonna ruin them. But then again, it's like if they have one in Q1, it just destroys their Q1.
Yeah.
And it's also funny how all the big teams only have problems in Q3. Cough, Leclerc BSing his way to 2 red flags and pole positions, but
we
don't go there. And Gasly, yeah. But so I guess it's all right in that regard. I think that will be interesting. However, if there are incidents, I don't think the FIA will be able to cope with it. I think that's going to be a massive problem.
Yeah.
And what's the next part you asked about?
We did incidents, DNFs. I think we kind of covered it. I think we did broadcasting before, so I'll tell you what. While you're talking, mate, let's let you open up a talking point. So, Hyper, go on, hit us with one of your talking points. Ask us a question, mate.
Well, alright. So if we want to actually make this a permanent thing, the points, they have to be changed. That's just my personal opinion. I'll give my opinion out before I open it up to everyone else, but at the moment, first, second and third get points. I think was it 10, 7 and 5 or something?
No, something 1, I think it was.
Okay. 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so now assuming let's say Lewis wins sprint quali and the race and gets fastest lap. That's 29 points he gets. Now let's say Valtteri Bottas comes 4th in sprint qualifying, 2nd in the race. He's getting 18. That's a 10-point swing to Lewis, just by being 3 positions up in quali and then 1 up in the race.
Ooh, do you know, that is a great point, mate. Yeah.
To me, that seems stupid. So, I personally think if we're going to make this a permanent thing, 1, we scrap actual quali, just have reversed grids for sprint quali.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm well against that. Don't go that way.
We're in reverse grids, not at all.
Yeah, no, that's F2. It works in F2, but not in F1. But anyway, let's.
Well, so sprint quali. So we'll ignore that for a minute. But then change the point system so that the top 10 get points for sprint quali, meaning 1 to 10 get 10 points to 1, and then have everyone get points in the race. May it be a massive swing from the top 10 to the bottom 10. May it be 1 to 20, but whatever it is, sprint quali should give out points to the top 10, not just the top 3. Otherwise, it's going to be Mercedes, Red Bull, not Ferrari at the moment, but
McLaren and maybe Ferrari. No, I think you're right. Yeah. It could be circuit dependent, but yeah.
And it's just like, okay, so Williams are getting screwed over out of points, as per usual. Haas are out of points. AlphaTauri will get 1 point out of it, maybe. Alpine will get 0. Aston Martin will get 0. It's for the big teams.
Hyper, that is an absolute fantastic point to make, and I actually agree with exactly what you've said. To add on to it, I think I'd go a little bit further and touch on what you said and start to give points for the whole field for the race. Go down from 25 in increments of 3 to 2 to 1, and then everyone's got a point less going down to the last place. I think you've touched on a really, really good point there, and I'm sure some of our viewers will comment. But yeah, absolutely agree with that. Really do. Smoke, coming to you before we go to Tom. Smoke, what do you think on what Hyper said?
But touching on the bit where you said giving points to people, that kind of feels like sort of pity points. It sounds like it's like school sports days at the minute. Everyone gets a prize for competing.
Yeah.
No, if you're not quick enough, you don't get points. Simple as. I do agree that the points need to be adjusted because the 29 points, like Hyper said about the whole 10-point gap between Hamilton and Bottas, that makes sense. I think
it does.
The points need to be adjusted for the sprint. I'm going to call it sprint race instead of sprint quali because
I agree with that.
People.
I agree with that
terminology. It's not. It just defines the starting position in the Grand Prix. Simple as it's a race at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The points need to be adjusted to accommodate for a little bit more points and fluctuation throughout the field. Granted, I accept that. The points need to also be adjusted for the Grand Prix to account for that. So the gap isn't massive.
Is it in terms of first, second, and third?
Yeah.
Because I think it's top heavy. It's top heavy. I think the difference in points is too much. I don't think there should be a 7-point difference between first and second and a 5-point difference between second and third.
I think in my mind, let's do what they did before 25 points and 18 points came back in. In my view, bring back like the old system where it has 10 points for the winner. Have 10 points for the winner. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Top 10 done.
Yeah, do you know what, Ollie? I could almost agree with that because then it's almost like the points make prizes. That last ditch effort to overtake counts, or the last ditch effort to defend counts. It'll mean that all the way through the season, 1 point is more powerful than a win.
Yeah. Bring back the old way. We don't need the 7-point rubbish. Bring back the old way of doing it. Bring back the single point difference from first place down to 10th.
Well,
make it simple as that.
Does this bring us into the point where the teams that have got more resources are getting obviously an advantage? I mean, obviously we're in the business of the fastest team gets the prize. I understand that. I respect it. That's racing. But like we've all just discussed, like we've seen with Mercedes for the last 7 years, where they've been dominant. Should they have really had that much dominance? Because when we've seen Mercedes fail, could we have had 2 or 3 seasons where it might not have just been a Mercedes show if we bring this sort of equal point system out? Is this what's neat? Is this what's really fundamentally? Is this what Liberty Media and the FIA are getting wrong? They're trying to do sprint qualifying where should we just keep it simple and change the points?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Are we onto something there? Do we all agree that could be the way forward?
I don't. I'm very against that because I understand what you guys are saying about the points being closer together. Why the reasoning behind their change to the whole 25 points and the point scaling is to make drivers go for that risk to go for the win because of the points difference. Because what people were doing in the past were going, oh, if I go for the win, or if I just hold back in this position, I still get enough points to keep my lead, or just keep ahead of this person. As long as I don't risk the car, I still finish, I still get this amount of points. They're calculating before the race where they need to finish, and as long as they hit that point, they're good, and they're fine, because Alain Prost done it for years.
Yeah, mate, I am totally agree with you, but at the same point, this brings in the next point. Tyres. They have to nurse tyres. They're not going flat out. They have to calculate when they can push the tyres, when they can't push the tyres.
But this is the
talking point.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? This is the big picture of F1, and this is what the show's all about. It's not just about this qualifying, or this sprint qualifying, or sprint race. It's fundamental problems in F1, and actually, I'll correct myself. I don't think there's any problems in F1 because I think it still works. It isn't actually broken. They're just trying to get more viewers or more money, etc. I genuinely don't think F1 is broken. I think the qualifying and race works. I think the biggest issue is the tyres and the difference between the teams. Yes, I would like to see the teams closer, but at the same time, the ethos of F1 is I can build the fastest car, look how quick I can go. And that is what F1, the pinnacle of the sport, is all about. Building the fastest car. So, tyres...
It's not Formula E.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, when we're saying this, should we deregulate the regulations in terms of engine specification? Should we open it up? Should we do it more like an American supercharger event where you go, right, as long as it's 6 litre, as long as you've got these aero rules and this chassis size, build the engine you want. Could that be the way forward? And we get away from this sprint qualifying or race. So, Smoke, what I've just said there, what do you think of that?
To be honest,
just touch.
Oh. Hang on, Tom. Let Smoke just answer what I've just asked, mate. Go on,
just
Smoke.
to touch on the tyres you mentioned a second ago.
Yeah.
Yes, the current formula is tyre management, but what I think the sprint race brings in to play is that 17 laps with this new construct of tyre that they've got for this weekend, they can make 17 laps going flat out. When was the last time you saw an F1 car going flat out for an entire stint?
1998, I think.
I was thinking more last time they were doing refuelling, which was 2008.
2008, 2009.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually, yeah.
And that's when Bridgestone was still involved and they were making tyres that didn't do nothing.
Bring Bridgestone back. Oh.
They literally made tyres that could do Grand Prix probably 3 times over. So the last time we saw an F1 car going full chat for a full race or stint was back then. So we're getting that benefit of having this current generation of Formula 1 car, the fastest cars that we've had, excluding last year's, because that's probably the fastest.
I'd like to touch on that, Smoke, to be honest.
We're going to see them going flat out for 17 laps, which is 25 minutes to half an hour, depending on the circuit, or weather depending. That's going to bring that aspect involved with it. Who can maintain that? Which driver can maintain that? That concentration, that level of speed for an entire race. And then you also get the benefit of who can be the best sort of all-round performer when it comes to race, like the Grand Prix race.
Yeah.
Because then you've got a full race that you have to manage fuel, tyres, battery, literally everything you have to do. They're going to have to be able to do everything. And this is where I think where the driver then comes involved, because you've got the old guard, what I would call Alonso, Vettel, Hamilton, Ricciardo even. They all know the game. Perez, they all know that game. They know how to go flat out, and they also do know how to manage the tyres. They've been through multiple eras where these new guys, they don't know. They've only done the whole management stuff.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
I think there's a little bit more to it than what we all think right now.
Mate, I totally agree.
I think we should keep an open mind about it. Really.
In my mind,
let's bring
Smoke,
Tom in. No, Ollie, let's just bring Tom in, because Tom was about to make a point before. So, Tom, what was you going to say, mate?
Honestly, I mean, I do agree with what was being said just now, but I'd like to touch on the whole engine discussion. I think
Go on.
I do agree that obviously teams can construct the engine in the way they want, but the question is, what is it going to do to them financially?
Well, the engine cap will cover that, mate. So the engine cap will cover that, but and I don't agree with the engine cap. I think if we took away the engine cap, then we're good again. I don't think the engine cap is in line with the ethos of F1. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but I'm against the engine, the cost cap. I really am.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, it fits the current formula where they're trying to be a little bit more economical.
Yeah.
So that kind of fits. But if you're doing the whole sort of build whatever you want thing, everybody's going to build the biggest, powerful engine ever. It then essentially becomes a spec series. And do you really want a spec series? F2, come on. It's kind of has its moments where it's absolute brilliant, but then it also has its moments where it's a bit just dull.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just move on slightly then. Ollie, have you got a point you want to make about sprint qualifying? Something you want to bring up, a topic of conversation? Anything at all?
well, I was actually going to bring up what Smoke was talking about with the tyres, because what the FI have done with when they made this deal with Pirelli back in 2011, they said they're going to try and bring in. Pirelli said to them they're going to bring in degradation and much more closer sprint racing. Now, I agree with closer racing with much harder decoration to make the tyres and teams and drivers really work hard to manage their tyres, which in my mind has failed, because back in 2011, back in Silverstone, the tyres have failed. In some numerous occasions throughout the years, the tyres have failed. I mean, we can look at Baku, how they thought it was a cut in the tyre or something, but no.
Yeah, Stroll and Vettel, Stroll and Verstappen both had, yeah.
No forgetting Silverstone 2013, because there were quite a few punctures on that race.
Exactly. So in my mind,
Stroll, Hamilton,
Bridgestone, Bridgestone, in my mind, they're the most durable tyre out there. They can go on for like 3 Grand Prix, or even more than that. I do not know. What Bridgestone done is made a superb durable tyre, so the teams could just go flat out all day long. Pirelli, in my mind, have failed, and they don't know what tyres they want to use, what pressures they want to use, what safety of the degradation they have to use. We saw Hamilton's tyres at the end of first practice one, how degraded and how absolute bulging, or what do you want to call it, blistering on the right front.
So Ollie,
in my mind, it's dangerous.
Based on what you're saying, Ollie, based on what you're saying, would you say that being able to go flat on the tyres is what we need for not only just the sprint race qualifying, but all of F1?
Yeah, I think. In my mind, if Bridgestone ever to come back, it'll be happy days.
I personally think being able to do a full race on a one-stop, or obviously a 2-stop for the circuit like Japan or somewhere where it's high degradation. But yeah, I think the general circuits where you can do a one-stop, being able to go flat out. Totally agree with that. I'm all for it. Yeah, and I think we need to go back to a system where those tyres happen. But just
to jump in before you move on quickly, you said that Pirelli's failed. However, I disagree with that, because the instruction they had from Formula 1 and FIA was to deliver a tyre that degraded. I can't even say the word.
So they failed the fans, not FIA. They failed the fans.
I don't think that's Pirelli's fault. I think Formula 1 shot themselves in the foot by changing the formula and changing the cars. They made them so much wider. The amount of downforce that the cars produce.
Yep, agreed.
Destroy the tyres, destroy the air wake behind them, making it impossible to follow. This is why I think we should probably give these trials a shot for this sprint race and this whole new format. Give it a shot for the 2 races that it's involved in.
3.
Leave it. Oh, is it 3? Sorry.
3.
For those races, and then just to see how it goes, just to see how the drivers respond, see how the fans respond to it. Then try it again, do it with 3 more races next season with a new car. I think it will be a total different kettle of fish when it comes to the new car. Because they've got ground effect instead of being surface aerodynamics.
Let's just move to Ollie, because we've not offered Ollie an opportunity to raise a point or make a talking point. So, Ollie, what have you got for us, mate? What do you want to talk about? Sprint qualifying based or sprint race based?
Like I said before, I think reverse grids will be a lot more exciting.
We're losing Ollie. We're losing Ollie. We can't hear you, Ollie. Yeah. Moving on to Hyper.
Funny. I'm back in my home now, thank you. So you can hear me clearly. You cheeky
Oliver's
lot.
gone.
I completely missed that. What was that?
Ollie started saying about reverse grids, and I cut him off.
I agree with him. No, let us explain this. I think Ollie and I are about to make a great point here, and you should actually just listen.
Okay, go on.
Just to think about it. Okay, so let's say
in my mind, reverse grids.
I agree it shouldn't happen. However, if F1 want to change something, why not give it a try? Just for a season. Think about it. If you want,
For a season,
no, not a chance.
No,
if you
not a
want
full
your sprint
season.
quali, have this. Have it so that round 1 you have an actual qualification. That then leads you to your sprint quali, as we've got here.
Okay.
Then from round 2 onwards, have it reverse championship order with your sprint quali, whatever point system you want to give it. Have it reverse championship order so that Mercedes are at the back, Williams at the front. Have them go as far as they can. Or is it 100? Is it 100 kilometers right now?
For the sprint
sprint
race, it is,
race,
yeah.
Yeah. Have them go 100 kilometers, 50, 150. I don't give a damn. However much they want. Let's see Williams fight their hardest for 1, 2, 3 points. Points that they know, otherwise they are not getting. George Russell barely getting into Q3 right now. Latifi's not making it out at Q1. However, if they're on pole for that sprint quali, then they are going to fight for those top 3 positions.
Yeah.
Whilst the boys at the back,
Well,
in
George
Mercedes-
Russell
Watch
just a dog.
F2. So go watch it. I'm sorry, but just go watch F2. That's not F1. We don't need it. I'm sorry.
No,
to
but
cut you
sprint
off, mate,
quali.
but-
Sprint quali is also F2. I don't want that either.
No, the
What I
reverse
want
grids
is
are
a
just
race.
it's not going to work. It's just not, mate. It's not going to work for F1.
I agree. But I also think the sprint quali is an even worse idea.
Yeah.
I can understand it, and I'm not going to tell you you're wrong at all because I really want to see this how it pans
Dan,
out.
I genuinely thought you were about to swear for a second.
No, I'm almost spitting feathers with the reverse grid mentality of F1. I'm so against that. But yeah, I mean, I do understand what you're all saying. I really do. But I just think reverse grids F1 does not work, especially if you're going to do it for the full calendar. There's certain circuits that don't work. There's certain circuits that don't work for F2. Do you know? It's just it doesn't work. But
It doesn't work for Monaco. That's a fact. But
Say
it's
again?
like let's see sprint quali or this or reverse grid. Either of them at Monaco.
yeah, but I
there's
think
not-
FIA and Liberty Media have already said that they're not going to trial it or even think about doing it at places like Monaco. They've already said that.
Then what's the point of having it if you're going to trial it for one race? But
No,
then
no.
You're
I
going to
like-
implement it.
I
Like,
will
what's the
say
point
one
of
thing
that?
on this. I like the fact they've said that because it proves how much of a crap race Monaco is in terms of racing.
In
terms
these
of
current
racing.
cars, in these
It's
cars.
not
Monaco's a
great.
qualified track and field.
I think full blown F1. Qualifying is the most exciting part of Monaco. That's it. That's it.
In these
For Hamilton,
cars,
for Hamilton to
I
do
agree.
58 laps on a tyre and keep a faster car behind proves that Monaco is whack.
Or
For
Daniel
these
Ricciardo
cars.
with a half-working engine.
Yeah,
For these
exactly.
cars.
Exactly. Thank you, mate. So
But
anyway,
Bring
right.
back the old 1980 cars.
Or the ones that are hard to handle. Yeah, no, mate. Mate, if we do a historic, if we make the Monaco race every year in the Lotus 72, I'm all for that, mate.
I agree.
I'm all for that.
Bring me
do
back to
reverse
those
grid.
days.
Do reverse grid. Do rubbish tyres. Do the lot. I'm up for that. Let's do it. But okay. I think we've actually kind of outlined everyone's opinion. I mean, has anyone got a burning sensation to bring up another point? Anyone?
Well, there was a
What's
comment on the comments on the actual stream. Nadeem made it,
okay.
and it was in regards to the incentive for the lower end teams
Okay.
for the sprint race and like going for those extra points. And I tend to agree with him. the lack of, is also referring to the lack of preparation as well, with the only 1 hour practice beforehand. So it's catching the teams off guard. So they're going to have to do so much. Like the interview with Lewis earlier, saying that he, instead of wasting half the day away, he went back and done some simulator work. Granted, that was location where he is. He's only like a little bit down the road from the actual factory. But yeah, for when it comes to the prep work, that the qualifying in the current practice in the current format, there's 3 hours of it. So the big teams, they literally use all their data that they've got, all their sim work that they've got, and then just chuck it all in, do the 3 hours practice going, yeah, we'll just change this, change that, change this, change that. Where the Williams, for example, they're trying to understand their car from scratch.
Yeah.
And if they can come to the racetrack with a decent, solid setup, like straight out the box, and then do fine tweaks, and then get a surprise result like Russell's just done, it does bring out quite a lot. And with like what I said earlier, with the whole sprint race with only being 17 laps, that Williams could be an absolute monster under low fuel.
Yeah.
In race conditions.
We've seen that in Q as well, and the race.
Exactly.
I mean, George Russell's going to thrive under sprint races. He is going to thrive in that car.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big talking point.
He's got a point there, mate. He has got a point there. I think he's right. Where he's not got to survive with the tyres and he's going to go flat out. I think George Russell will thrive, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, and it's a third of a tank of fuel.
Wow.
So the weight is going to be ridiculous. That Williams car, we've never seen it, other than Q1 and Q2, we've never seen it at full pace. It's always been under management. And I think there's a little bit more to that Williams car that we don't know, that we haven't seen. So this sprint race could be good for the smaller teams. Granted, yes, it doesn't really help them out with points because only top three top three drivers get it.
Yeah.
But that can be adjusted at a later date. But it could provide with a really exciting sprint race, and then put people in really odd positions for the Grand Prix.
This is coming back to my point about that it could be the unknown, the exciting, etc. But I mean, we have been going for quite a while now, guys. So I want to revisit everyone's opinion. Oh, go on.
May I just add one more point?
Go on.
Qualifying.
Yep.
So at the moment we've got Q1, Q2, Q3.
Yep.
If we're going to have sprint qualifying with that, what is the point of having 3 sessions? Why not just have one
session,
long ass session, 45 minutes, 30 minutes,
3 tyres,
not even that, two sets of tyres, 3, whatever, I don't care. Just have one session on a Friday. Cool that.
But you got to remember as well, it's free choice for the race. By the way, that's another point. It's one set of one type of tyre for qualifying. Yeah. You can obviously use that in the sprint race, but then it is free choice for the race. Free choice for the race. So you could be in P1 and choose your mediums, or you could be in P20 and choose the softs, or the mediums, or the hards, whatever. It is free tyre choice, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned that at all.
Which is a good idea.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
If you're mentioning one long session for 45 minutes, whatever, how are they going to bring that up then? How's that going to work when it turns how to eliminate the drivers down?
Right.
They don't need guys. Unless you just open qualifying to sprint qualifying.
Do you know what I think we should do, guys? I think we should do an SFR Real Talk Point 2 after this weekend, or after the race, or even, after the race, maybe Sunday night or Monday. Let's bring this discussion back, because I think we've made some really valid points this evening, and I think we've got some serious talking to do. So, I'd say let's wrap it up tonight. Let's watch what happens this weekend with the sprint race, and then the race itself, or the free practice 2, then the race.
It's like an F1 post show.
I know. So let's try and meet up Sunday or Monday. We'll get together on the comms chat, and we'll decide when we can do it.
I'll be honest.
But anyone that's been watching tonight, brilliant. Let's hear your thoughts, especially on the SFR Twitter, SFR Facebook. But we will be back either Sunday or Monday and continue this discussion once we've seen the fruits of the sprint qualifying / sprint race. Does that sound good, guys? Doing a second segment to kind of revisit this?
We should Are we going to do a discussion on it on, I don't know, on a Monday or after the race on Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday or Monday. So, before we close out, let's just revisit how we opened this segment. Hyper, from what we discussed, are you for, on the fence, or against it?
Even more against it.
Even more against it. Okay, so there's been a sway. He's gone from on the fence to well against it.
Oh no, I was against it anyway.
Oh, was you? All right, so you've not changed. Okay, you're stubborn. Fine, Oliver. What did you say before, and what do you say now?
I was for it, but now I'm on the maybe section because there's like so many implications on this sprint qualifying.
So, Tom, Shadowlancer, what did you say, and what are you doing now?
I said I was against it, but I'd give it a chance, and I still stand by that because.
The betting Tom, you're a maybe.
Skeptical.
Yeah, you're still a maybe.
Arguably,
Right.
but
Okay.
it's like I'm against the idea, but I'll give it a chance to see if it can prove me.
So yeah, you're unchanged.
Guys
That's
on the,
fine. Smoke.
against Ron.
Go on. What did you say, Smoke, and what are you saying now?
I said I was on the fence about it.
And what do you think now?
I'm still a little on the fence about it, but I'm all for giving it a shot.
Okay, so yeah, still kind of on the fence, right? So I was sort of like for it. I've heard all you guys, and some of you almost swayed me to go against it, but I think just because it's made us all so passionate and discussing it, I'm actually even for it more now. I really am. That's not going to say that I'm going to change my mind once we see what happens, but yeah, I really want to see how this is going to go. So yeah, I think at the minute, I think let's go all guns blazing. Let's crack on, see how it happens. But yeah, come join us again.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on, mate. Go on.
It all depends on Sunday, to be honest. It was like Saturday may be great, but it all depends on Sundays. If Sunday's a boring race after, an okay Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see. And actually, I think it more matters on Saturday. But anyway, I think we should wrap it up there, and we'll reconvene this discussion on Monday, maybe. Because I think we've got a lot to say. So I've really enjoyed this, guys. Not about you, but it's been absolutely a brilliant discussion. Yeah, we've highlighted a lot of things, not only for the sprint race or sprint qualifying, but F1 in general. So Hyper,
it felt like a real proper talk show, in my view, anyway.
It did. So anyway, Hyper, thanks for joining us, mate. Again, welcome to SFR. Good to have you with us, mate. We'll see you again Monday. Are you free Monday?
Of course.
Oh, fantastic. Oliver, again, thanks for joining us, mate. Love your business Monday.
Sorry.
I got nothing planned Sunday and Monday, so yeah, I'm all for it.
That's good. Shadowlancer, Mr. Tom.
Yo. Oh, shoot. Yeah, it depends on what I've got on, but I should be able to make it. I'll let you know at the time.
The cheek of it, you're no longer in part of it, right? You can go. That's fine. It's all or nothing, mate. I'm not a date. You can decide whether you want to date us or not. You're either in or not, mate.
Tom makes it.
Yeah. I'll be happy to participate, but it depends on what I've got on the day.
Tom's gonna bring the flowers.
Smoke, my mate. Thanks for joining us, mate. Do you think you can join us Monday?
Well, I'm isolating for the next 4 days, so I'm sure I'll probably be available.
Good man. Okay, guys, right. Right, guys, thank you ever so much for joining us. I think it's been a really good show, some good talking points. We probably went off track a little bit along the way, but, all in good fun for the SFR Real Talk. So join us again Monday, where we discuss how well the sprint qualifying / sprint race /
British Grand Prix.
Yeah, how it all went. So yeah, join us Monday, probably same time. For the second segment of SFR Real Talks. Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you Monday. Take care. Good night.
Cheerios.
Take care.
Bye.